It is a great pleasure for us to be here. I want to share with you greetings from your partner church in Cuba, the Presbyterian Church in Sancti Spiritus. We are very happy to spend this time with you. And the only reason, because I will preach in English, is because in next January, when we will have some of you in Sancti Spiritus, Pastor Susan will preach in Spanish. So we both are very happy for this partnership between our churches, and we are very happy to be here, Yanelis and I. It's the second time for Yanelis here, and it's my first visit to America. So also it's the first church we visit here in America. So we are very happy because this is the oldest partnership for our church. Let's start with a story. There was a successful farmer, as his corn always won the first prize at all fairs. This man has the tradition of sharing his best corn seeds with the farmers all around. When he was asked why he did so, he answered, "Actually, it is poor self-interest. The wind blows the pollen from one field to another. So, if my neighbors grow an inferior quality corn, the pollination would affect the quality of my own corn. That's why I am so interested in my neighbors and fellow farmers getting the best seeds." This story, told by Anthony de Mello, is an interesting combination of creativity, honesty, and solidarity, and about these values, the text we read today tells us about these values. The parable of the clever manager in Luke's Gospel shows us a very peculiar story in the Gospels, not only because it only appears in Luke, but because the conclusions of this story are not given in an obvious or direct way. Jesus tells the story of a rich man who hired someone to manage his properties. The owner heard some rumors about his manager misusing his resources, so he summons him and announces that he is fired. The manager, concerned about his immediate future, thinks about a strategy to win friends and have doors to knock at when he becomes destitute. So he called all the people that had debts with his master, and one by one he reduced their debts and had them sign new agreements showing that they owed less. Jesus concludes saying that the owner applauded the wisdom and creativity that his manager had used. This story has awakened a lot of interpretations. Some people think that the parable has the purpose of exhorting Christians to be prepared to face the consequences of their faith in Christ, just like the manager prepared himself to face the crisis that was coming upon him. Others have wondered why Jesus commends the manager who was dishonest, as he had changed the number of the dead. Nevertheless, Jesus doesn't commend the manager's dishonesty, but his cleverness and creativity at facing the crisis on uncertainties of the future, and also Jesus regrets that his disciples were not as clever at solving situations of daily life as the manager was in the parable. In this sense, Jesus invites us to be clever and smart at solving our daily problems, which reminds us of some of his words: be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. The text is also a call to be kind and intelligent in using our wealth and possessions. The people who had great debts with this rich man were relieved of a great weight. The same owner showed mercy by not denouncing the manager and his debtors. A message very peculiar from Luke, the gospel where the love to wealth is strongly criticized and denounced as root of evil and injustice. In verse 14, is mentioned that the Pharisees, as they were wealth lovers, make fun of the things Jesus said. And Jesus responds saying that what means so much to them was worthless to God. The text from the gospel is, as in the whole Bible, teaches us that everything we have is a gift from God. It's a loan that God, the creator of life, has given to us. Our duty is to manage those things in order to enjoy them. The text that was read in the book of the prophet Amos denounced that the dishonest attitudes, the abuse of power, lies, unfair commerce, and the oppression of the poor, to the prophets of Israel, economic justice and solidarity are the fruits from their fidelity to God, who granted them freedom. It is a matter of the principles that define which God we are serving. I come from a country where we have been taught to think that we know no poverty, but the truth is that we all, Cubans and Americans, know the way that a person or a family is affected by that evil, completely human, that is forgetfulness and abandonment. I think that facing such evils, both our churches, Cuban and American, exist and rise up to help each other and help others as well, not from pity or feeling superior, but from the mission and vocation to serve, having mercy on each other. With the strength from the Spirit, we can say, as Isaiah and Jesus, that we are willing to offer a message of good news, feeling ourselves sent to heal the heartbroken, preaching freedom to the captives, giving sight to the blind, setting the oppressed free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. Wealth is not bad itself. The problem is becoming slave of wealth, servants of the consumerism that every day affects us in so many ways. Jesus' gospel calls us to connect faith with practice of generosity and solidarity. In this parable are important messages for our life as believers, as the Church of Jesus, related to the need to act with love, honesty, and being creative in all the things we do, as in our relationships with other people. Both our countries, Cuba and United States, are living in times of difficult crisis, political, economical, and even in religion. But the history of partnership and fraternity between our churches has taught us that we can always, as the clever manager from the parable, walk in new path of mutual mission, of support and spiritual prayer, of long-lasting friendship and shared values. As a church, we are heirs of the message and ministry of Jesus, wanting to transform the world. God, with Christ, shows us that life is full of situations where everything loses its sense, and that precisely in those situations is our chance to share life, joy, and hope. We need only to have the necessary strength and wisdom that comes from God and is often offered in the inspired testimony of so many people that love and live for the Church's unity and are always working to help others. The parable of the clever manager alerts us to be prepared, it's like a 911 call. It is like an emergency to acknowledge that it is important to walk through the life, weaving human networks, nurturing good relationships, finding what united us, seeding values, and acting with integrity, so that all the time our testimony will provide good fruits. Our churches continue to be united, offering life as a gift, a free gesture, a constant giving to others, so they learn to do the same. The human life is about community. We can't exist outside the relationship. In a community, a family, we are born, we grow, we support each other, we take care of each other. I have heard several times that the future belongs to some people that follow a certain political system or ideology, or they have some special kind of theology. But today, we can say that life and the future belongs to human beings that let themselves be moved by love and seek a different answer through forgiveness, cleverness, and fraternity. I would like to conclude remembering a hymn written by a Cuban pastor that resumes all the work our churches have been doing. When we join together, we make our path. Perhaps there will be weather to tire us, at last. Let's travel with love, with friendship and care, to take people from Christ, to take peace from Christ everywhere. Thank you very much.